Hey everybody. I'm glad for everyone dropping by earlier when we were showing the debates live and StreamYard, and for everyone who didn't show up. It is now time for the post-presidential debate. I am your host T-Bro, and get ready, relax, take your socks off, and unwind the cat because we are in for a good one here tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the post-presidential debate. This is your host who loves people from Saros, Hebrew 77 here, along with good old Armor Up and Sagittarically Speaking, who are preoccupied at the moment. But I'm glad everybody was here and joined us, and they joined us during the debate itself. We are now here live to talk about our thoughts on the debate, and hopefully we get your thoughts as well, because the phone lines will be open, my good friends. Welcome all, even the Neanderthal that was sitting there in the corner the whole time eating a turkey leg. You know who you were. So,
Who was it? I don't know who they were.
oh, well, they do.
Ah,
They know who
well,
they
I like turkey, so
are. Oh,
let's talk. Let's talk turkey.
let's talk turkey. You're right. Yeah. What is your favorite kind of turkey?
I'm a breast man. Turkey or chicken or any
Oh,
bird. So I don't care much for duck. It's all dark meat, even the breast.
hmm. You know, I never really had duck before.
Ah, yeah. I've had it a few times. So I never don't really care for it, but I've had it a
Hmm.
few times. It's all right. It's good, but it's dark meat, and I don't like dark meat
Oh,
on a
well,
bird. Now, as far as people, I love all.
well, good to hear that, sir. Good to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah. But as far as birds go, let me ask you this: have you ever had a turducken?
No.
No.
No, we won't get into why.
Oh, okay. You just you don't like a bird stuffed inside of another bird? Is that it, or other
No, I
reasons?
don't like the one who promoted it
Oh, okay.
at all.
Hmm.
Can never stand to look at even, yeah, oh, yeah. Let's move along.
All right. Man, I can hear the rain hitting your roof almost like you have a tin roof or something.
Well, yeah, almost, huh? I think probably because it's 10.
Oh,
Hey, Bubbles, Bubbles. Man, there's a name I ain't got to say twice in a while. Welcome.
oh
Good
well.
to
Hey,
see Bubbles, Bubbles.
let me ask you this: since Edgy's kind of busy right now, would you like to give this room a three-man shout out, or a three-woman shout out, or
I could
three?
add a couple names to the Bubbles, Bubbles list.
Okay.
Okay, we got Bubbles, Bubbles. Got Eddie Van Trump with a wrench. You gotta watch when you shout out Eddie because you got to see what you're reading there. It's constantly on a flow. He's like a constant Mandela shift.
Oh yeah.
And we got Philip Fogarty, the green one.
Hmm. Yeah, because he's usually purple.
Well, if he's Fogarty Phillip, he's orange,
Oh, okay.
which
I
may
got
be
it.
purple to you. I call it sort of a burnt orange.
Ah, see, you pointed out a good point there. Maybe I have a slight problem with color blindness.
Or maybe I do. One of us, possibly.
Oh, that's
Or
true.
that's just how we were taught. Maybe you were
Oranges.
taught that was that color, and I was taught that was that color.
Oh, yeah.
Let your mind sink into that a while. That's an awesome, wild rabbit hole to get trapped down in.
Hmm. I usually
Yep,
don't do
Philip's
that.
green today. That's correct, Bubbles.
Wait, who said what?
Bubbles said Philip is green over here on my end. Yep, today he's green, Philip.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes he's like a off brown, I call it a burnt orange-ish Philip.
Pretty soon he should be a burnt orange. We got the month of Halloween coming up.
Oh, yes.
I
The
was
Witches'
looking.
Festival itself, the big one. Well, one of the big ones. It's the biggest promoted one. There's actually bigger ones, but yeah.
I don't really know anything about witches burning in ditches, but I'll tell you what, man, I sure like the candy. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I always enjoyed my Halloween candy. Still do. The grandchildren know Pap loves his little Snickers, so they hook Pap up a lot with the little Snickers.
Well, hello everybody. Sorry about being
Hey,
a little
welcome
late.
back,
Look
Saji.
who joined us. Hello, Saji.
Showed
Hello,
up a
hello.
little late. Perhaps you got some egg on your face. Bum bum.
Boom. That's why I was late. I was frying up some steak and eggs.
Oh, man, that sounds awesome.
I had made the steak earlier, but I was whipping up the eggs.
Yeah.
And I
Steak.
heard you talking about what were you guys just talking about? Oh, the Halloween candy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
candy.
I think my conspiracy against Halloween is it was invented by the Dental Association.
Well, them and the Diabetes Association
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
the Satanist. Let's not
yeah,
leave them
Yeah.
out.
right. I think they're all one big conglomerate.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
same
yeah,
birds,
for
different
sure.
wing. Yeah, we could go
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
I always say dentist or Satanist anyway, so they're probably all a part of that same group. Just saying. Now, no offense to anyone out there who is a Satan. I mean, a dentist.
Well, they
Yeah,
are
or a
into
Satanist,
inflicting.
you know.
They do enjoy inflicting pain. They get paid to inflict pain
Yeah,
upon
what are they?
people.
They're like
Yeah.
the masochist, right? They're the ones that inflict it. The sadist is the one that like it. Do I got that right? I always got that backwards.
Huh.
But yeah, they're the inflictor of the pain. I think they're called the masochist. If I remember right, back in my S&M days, it's a long time. I don't know.
No comment.
The other way around? Maybe it's the other way around because I always get them backwards. I don't know. No, the sadist is one.
Well, as long as you don't get it backwards while you're actually practicing. Like, well, you were supposed to hurt me.
Yeah, stop it. That hurts. I'm supposed to be the hurter this time, not the
It's
hurtee.
They always say to me, "It's your turn to get mask," and I go, "No, I think it's your turn to get mask in rubber suit." Just saying.
All Hallows Eve is one of the big ones, I would say, Eddie, but I don't know if it would be the biggest.
Ooh, yeah.
It is one of the big ones, though, but there isn't actually a much more important day for that particular thing.
Hmm.
Although that is definitely done on that day also, don't get me wrong. But
Well,
yeah.
now you got me curious, Armor. What is the biggest day for that?
Well, I'd rather not talk about that kind of stuff to promote it.
Well, no, we don't want to promote it, but we do want to make people aware of it so they can
Well, they
prepare.
know the days. Anyone that, yeah, it ain't hard to
Oh,
figure out what the major days are. There's the equinoxes, of course. There's All
oh,
Samhain, which is Halloween. There's May Day. Yeah,
oh,
they're all special days.
I got you. No, you can't dangle a piece of cheese at me and then pull it away like that. I'm just saying. I'm gonna bite, especially if it's mozzarella cheese. Just saying. But
I
no,
do
no.
like mozzarella cheese. It's good
Uh-huh.
stuff.
Yeah.
Hot pepper's probably my favorite. My hot pepper cheese.
Ooh, pepper jack, pepper jack. I love pepper jack.
Yep, pepper jack. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, mozzarella cheese, you gotta have it warm and melty though. Not so good cold. Or like you could get into like a sharp cheddar, you can just cut into that a cold slice and it
Oh my
still have a
gosh.
good
Yeah.
flavorful,
Yeah.
enjoyment out of it.
Now my wife likes those little what do they call them, bell cheese. It's like comes it's got like a cow face on the wrapper. She likes those, but in today's economy can't really afford those anymore. Just saying.
It seems like they would make like a generic brand of that was more affordable, but they don't really have that, do they?
No. It's like and the cool part about that kind of cheese though is when you crack open the wax shell, like you crack it open, it's like that little ball of cheese, and you're just like, this cheese is pretty good. Probably wouldn't be as good without the expensive wax shell around it. Ooh, I better buy more of these things,
So is that what your brain sounds like inside your head when you talk to yourself?
Yes. Yeah. Well, most of the time it's got more of a slower, like, yeah, I like bell cheese. I like the little red wrapping around it, you know. But sometimes if I'm particularly like not excited about something, like, oh yeah, bell cheese, yeah, good. That's how my brain sounds most of the time, except for when I'm like calculating something or debating something. Speaking of debates, guys, I believe we are here to discuss our feelings and thoughts and our critiques on the debates. I do believe. See how I segued into that just so smoothly, like peanut butter.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's
Smooth
like,
as
yeah,
silk.
peanut butter not kept in the refrigerator. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, speaking of not kept in the refrigerator, I'm surprised our friend, our good buddy, our pal, compadre, our amigo, if you will, Mister Lotard 900 wasn't here tonight.
Wow, yeah. Yeah. Well, he's Canadian. He barely could care less about the presidential debate.
Oh yeah, true. But just figured maybe a little support. Just saying. That's all. But anyway, yeah, you know what? I'll start first. You know what, guys? More than anything, I just liked hanging out with you guys and talking to the people like Lorraine Lamore and Eddie Van Trump. I think that more than anything, it was just more of that get together spirit, and we just all watching. And I think that's something that somebody just wasn't quite getting, like what we were doing. Like they kept asking the question, like, well, if you're putting it on YouTube and you're blah blah blah, I'm like, I'm not putting it on YouTube. You can't put that on you. Well, you can if you're an official like dude or something, but some of that stuff I'd be afraid to put on YouTube. It'd be just too I don't know. Would I get hit for that, you think?
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I
But
think
don't know what
the rights were given to specific channels. I think, yeah. So unless you had the rights, they could. I guess it depends on if the algorithm picked up on it. You probably would have to just delete it afterwards, though. Like you couldn't keep it as a saved video.
Right. Yeah. Eddie Van Trump, that's exactly right. That was the one person that just I don't think he understood quite what we were doing. Maybe he'd never participated in a watch party. I don't know. A lot of people haven't, I don't think. Like when Scarab does the movies, he has the watch parties and stuff. And one note before my 2 minutes is up here is that I honestly think that we should do more stuff like this. Only stuff like we
Well,
could do.
what do you mean? Do more stuff like this?
Well, what do you mean? What do I mean? You interrupted me, sir. You
I
interrupted
know.
me.
I'm just trying to stay in the
No,
spirit of the debate. So
the
I
rules
thought
were
I would
clear.
be like,
The rules-
Mr. Sadji,
try to.
Mr. Sadji, Mr. Sadji, if you
Yeah,
give him his 2 minutes,
The rules
if
were
you give him his
clear,
2
sir.
minutes, please.
Well, it's
Yeah.
really important that I make
guys
sure you
would
guys
please-
understand.
If you guys
Huh?
would both just give each other your 2 minutes. Mr. Sadji, party agreed to the
Well,
2
am I
minutes?
am I debating him or you? Maybe I'm debating you.
Well, if you'd like to trade seats, maybe we could trade seats.
I'll tell you what, that part of it was kind of entertaining. Don't you think? Don't you agree, gentlemen?
Yeah, I agree.
I guess I could agree. If I have to agree, all right.
Yeah,
I'll
you got
agree
it.
then.
Yeah, you're at sword point at this point. I would say to agree.
I think it really speaks volumes for the degradation of everything, our society.
Our
Uh,
society.
yeah, the fact that we can't even have a presidential debate that is presidential anymore. You know?
Yeah. Hey, go kart screeched in here. Hey, Mister Go Kart, we were just talking to you. I mean, talking about you and the positive light.
We were? I didn't even know who we was talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't. Cool. Okay. I was about to say who are we talking about, but
Yeah.
all right, it was Mr. Bob.
Yeah, I was just saying how I don't think you quite understood like the sort of what I was going for, like you didn't.
Well, I didn't even see him in the chat.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
He is now in our chat, in this chat, on YouTube chat. Plus,
Right,
I think
right.
what
That's
he,
why I didn't know who he was talking about because I was watching the debate chat
right.
and I was sort of lost on the subject.
Ah, I see. No, what happened was that I think his device isn't quite as good as what he said it is, and then like, not that he said it was, but he said like, you know, he couldn't make it in your StreamYard. And I think a lot of people might have that problem too. I've been talking to people that say that their devices, for some reason, I don't know the reason. Don't ask me the
Well,
reason.
didn't Bob go into when we was doing the StreamYard link? I thought he'd come on the one time.
That's a good point. Did he? Did he not?
I thought so.
Yeah.
Didn't Bob come on once?
Yeah, I
Maybe.
thought so.
I could have swore he did because I was happy to see that he was finally. I think it was a Taco Tuesday or something. Maybe. I don't think I was on the panel,
No.
but I
So
could have swore I remembered Bob
what do you recall?
calling in on somebody's show.
Yeah, I thought he was there once. It was the night we had some when Lotar was there, and he came on at the same time as or Michael Fontaine and
Michael
Lotar.
Fontaine.
Michael
Michael
Fontaine.
Fontaine.
Yeah. But I do know that with StreamYard, it really works best with Chrome. Other
Oh, yeah.
browsers, not
Yeah.
so much. It's hit or miss, and your Chrome has to be fairly up to date. If your Chrome hasn't had an update in a while, it might not even work with Chrome.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're forced to use Chrome basically for StreamYard. That's what forced me over to Chrome. But yeah, Chrome's as good as any. I mean, as long as you're keeping yourself protected like you should be anyway with any browser, Chrome isn't that horrid.
So I kind of want to talk about sort of the good points and the bad points. Like I think Donald Trump would have had he had like a lot of good points and things to say, but he was getting off topic a lot, and it seemed like he wasn't as strong because like you said, he kind of fell into Biden's trap a lot. Am I missing the mark here?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, like I said right before we ended the last thing there. Well, I guess we weren't live then, so maybe not everybody heard it, come to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot we was just talking in an off-live thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I think Trump sort of let him bait him. He sort of got played into interrupting a lot, getting himself off track. He was trying to do the same thing to Biden at first, which I understood because Biden will get flustered and then start calling people names and acting a fool out of himself. But I think Trump would have been much better suited to just give him his 2 minutes, let him say what he had to say, and then tear it apart when it was your turn, rather than interrupting as much. They were both interrupting, but there's no doubt that Trump did interrupt a little bit more, and it made him look a little less presidential in my eyes, Just saying, if I was looking at a debate trying to make a choice, I would have noticed that little bit of a fault. Should have been smart enough to let them hang themselves
Yeah, not to mention that that's a lot of people's problem with Trump is that he's too bombastic and that he's rude and that he's arrogant and that he doesn't, that he's like a elephant in the China factory, so to speak,
Well,
or China shop. But when I was watching the debate, I tried to keep like I tried to keep a perspective because I know I personally already kind of have made up my mind. I don't really need to see this debate. I kind of have a good idea of who the candidates are, what their policies are, what their tax plans are, what their economy would look like, the way that they would handle border control, the way that they would handle the military, the way that they would handle over or diplomacy with other countries and things of that nature. Simply because Biden's already kind of been a vice president, and and I kind of feel like he's kind of a wishy-washy. He don't really like he it seems like he hasn't he really wants to kind of keep. He's known for making a lot of promises in his in his past, and then once he gets elected, now none of the stuff that he says ever actually comes true. Where Trump, on the other hand, is bombastic. He is rude. He is a lot of the things they say he is. But as far as a president goes and being effective and getting things done, he really does have a pretty good track record in that regard. So, but I knew that the debate was going to be a opportunity for them to possibly sway new voters or sway people who are undecided, and a lot of people would be watching the debate hoping to make a decision based off of the debate. And so I was trying to keep that perspective when I was watching it. And as I and like you guys have already said, I really do feel like that that Trump didn't really maintain like a presidential aura about him, or air, or whatever the word is. And I think that neither one of them really did, for that matter. And the other big takeaway I had from watching the debate was that Biden did much better than I had imagined that he would. But all in all, walking away, I don't know that trying to watch from the perspective of an undecided voter, that I would have that I would have been swayed really strongly by one or the other. I feel like we've got like just mostly more of the same. But I've been ranting now for a minute. Passing the mic to whoever's next.
well, that's me, sir.
All right.
You see, the thing is, and it goes all the way back to what you said almost at the beginning, which I don't remember quite all of it, but I'll try to do the best I can. Is I think that Trump leads with his emotions too much. Like, he lets his emotions get the better of him. He's too emotional. Like, he's a heartfelt dude, and he has a lot of heart, and he has a lot of soul and stuff. And he just, instead of leading with your emotions when you're in that position, you should lead more with your brain. Not saying that Trump doesn't have a brain, because he is a pretty smart dude. However, whereas Trump shows a lot of emotions, I think Biden shows less emotions. Like, he's more of a robot than anything. And I think that if he did show some emotion every once in a while, instead of being, I think that people would see him in a different light. And he didn't pull that off tonight. He was still sort of like reading from a script, and it was sort of just like the same old, if you ask me. And
yeah, there was one exception though, when he got real passionate about talking about his son that was in the military. He showed a little emotion then.
And that's another thing I think Trump did wrong, to bring up his family. Now, we all know the facts about Biden's son and all that stuff. But yeah, to bring that up and throw that at someone during a presidential debate, I thought that was sort of a very low thing to do, in my opinion. And again,
I agree.
It ain't swaying my decision one way or the other. I already knew what I'm doing going in. But
Right.
that definitely was very uncalled for. They're gonna have a field day with that one, probably. You
Yeah.
bought right into their game. You're feeding their fire. Don't do that. You got to be smarter than them if you're going to play the game. And he is smarter, but like Heber said, I think maybe sometimes it is emotions that comes into play. But Yeah, you got to play. You got to be smarter. Just let Biden cut his own throat, say his own dumb things, call him out on his lies when it's proper, when it's your turn, and don't start throwing people's children into the mix.
No.
You know, that's
Right.
just
And really what he should have focused that point on when he was making that point, instead of like talking about his son as if his son had done something wrong. The
Right.
problem really wasn't, I mean, anybody would take an opportunity to go make $1 million if it was presented to them to go work for an energy. If somebody called the energy company in the Ukraine called me today and said, "Hey, we're going to offer you a job,
Well, his
350."
son basically
Yeah,
did do something wrong in that situation. I mean, there's a lot
right.
more to it than they just caught him for a job. There was
Well, no,
courts
no, no.
involved.
No.
There
Here's what
was
I'm trying to get at.
trials involved. There was
What I was trying to get at is that the fact that his dad hooked him up with the job. He should have focused more on the fact that you hooked your son up while you were vice president of the United States doing diplomacy with this country. Your son magically, gets appointed. Like, he should have focused on the fact that you manipulated, diplomacy to get your son the job. That would have went over a little bit easier. And I think the reason why he wanted to bring it up so much is because of the fact that so often the mainstream media that most people don't normally watch. If you're watching CNBC and CNN, MSNBC, ABC, or whatever, one of the normal ones that don't normally cover that topic, this was a chance for him to make it, public information to those who don't normally reach outside of the spectrum where they barely even mention that stuff even happened. But at the same time, I do think that it was a low blow. But I understand,
Yeah.
and I think that another thing worth mentioning, I think I mentioned it earlier, is I think Trump always feels like he's got to defend himself because he's constantly getting attacked, and I think that that's one reason why he lashes out so quick and so feverishly when he's in when he's in that debate. I think they were both, champing at the bit to get their points across. It was the first debate. Hopefully, as these next two debates come across, they will settle down a bit, and it won't be such a it'll look more
circus.
like such a circus. Thank you,
Yeah.
Armor.
It was a circus. It was, and there was really no true ringmaster in there. It was like Brian Williams or whatever his name is. He was trying his damnest to try to grasp hold of the situation, but it's kind of hard to grasp hold of the situation when you've got an elephant and a tiger just chomping at the bit, like you said, to get at each other's throats. And they were more or less, I will quote whoever said this, I forget who it was, that said it was more like a sixth grader and a seventh grader on a eighth grader playground, so to speak. Like they were sort of like, you know how like eighth and seventh graders and sixth graders debate each other. You know what I'm saying? On the playground, like your mama, you know.
Yeah, it really did. You know what? We all get kind of lost in the sauce, in the sense that I mean, yeah, we are vote. The presidential debate is basically each candidate trying to prove, why he or she, is the best man for the job, right? Or woman or whatever. But the election itself isn't really about 100% only about the man that you're putting in office. It has a lot more to do with the stuff that they're for, their policies, their ideologies. Those are even more important than the man himself, in my personal opinion anyway. And so that's kind of where I think we get distracted or detoured, is, we're sometimes it becomes a popularity contest or a personality thing, who's more, you can get caught up in their charm, their wit, their candor, their personality. Yeah, I mean, of course that's a factor, but when bottom line is, you really gotta, it's what, it's what ideology that you're backing, in my personal opinion, because it affects so many other things. I mean, if he's a nice guy, yeah, I mean, that's great. If he's an asshole, yeah, that's not so great. But at the same time, what does he stand for? How will this affect healthcare? How will this affect our economy? How will this affect our jobs? How will this affect our border control? How will this affect our diplomacy with other countries? Those are things that you really ought to consider. How your vote cast is going, what kind of effect that vote is going to have, more so than oh, he was mean to that guy, or he's better looking than that guy, or he talks smoother than that guy. Those things matter, but I don't think they're the most important thing that we need to consider. But that's, I'm just trying to throw that out there for, because it's easy to get distracted and forget those things.
Well, yeah, but
Well, I
then
don't.
you don't really get to know how they stand on them things because they're going to tell you whatever they think you want to hear to get in the office, both sides of the party. So
Exactly.
knowing how they stand on health care or all those other things, yeah, you can listen to what they say. But like you said, 90% of them never do what they promise anyway. So,
Exactly. So that's why you should be.
Here,
That's what I'm trying to say is you should know. You should already know. Like you, it's not like they both don't. I mean, granted, Trump has a very limited track record of politics, 3.5 years, but he has mustered up some results. He has given us some proof. That to look at. Uh, he's already done some things. Biden's been in politics for a really long time, and whatever he's and the things that he's done or hasn't done, that those things stand out to me more so than the words that come out of their mouths at the debate. So thank you, Armor, for clearing that up for me, because you're right. That's what I was trying to say is we should look at their track record more so than the personality or the charisma that they have in a debate.
yeah, and I also think that if you look at the strong points and weak points, like some of Trump's weak points was sort of like the environment. Like he really didn't know exactly how to answer that question. I think he deviated from it quite a bit, but I also don't understand how forest fires and wildfires have really anything to do with climate change. I mean, that's just a matter of, people burning stuff and those trees burning so fastly and stuff. And of course, Trump did have an answer for that, but Biden, on the other hand, he was throwing everything. He was throwing the blame of the previous administration on the Trump list. He's like, we inherited the weak economy and whatnot. It's like, wait a minute, we inherited the weak economy. Trump, in a way, like the unemployment rate, for example, was something that Trump worked on very hard to get up, and the only reason why it even went down as far as it has is because all this COVID stuff shutting the country down. That was not his fault, as Biden liked to had pointed out. Now, with that being said, I think that was a lot of Biden's weak points, is he really couldn't tackle the whole subject of how, like, the economy. The economy was one of his weak points, as Trump's weak point was sort of the environment, is what I'm trying to say in a nutshell. In
Yeah.
my opinion, in my opinion.
Well, see, the thing is, the popular belief right now is, especially if you listen to mainstream media, is that climate change is real. It does exist, and it's a big deal. Okay, and Trump really doesn't buy into the whole climate change thing. He doesn't. He's not 100% on board with climate change is even a thing. So he was trying to sidestep it by focusing on the forest fire thing. So that is kind of a weak point for him. But he didn't want to come right out and just say I don't believe in climate change, because that wouldn't know that they would have used that soundbite they would have played that soundbite over and over. And the way the question was set was it was trying to get him to take a stance one way or the other on climate change, and that was his way of kind of dodging the issue. And I personally, I'm not a, I don't really think that, I think the climate is changing. I think that's a generic term, but I don't think that us as humans really, and even more so as a country, have the can really make a difference as far as the climate. No matter how many factory, I mean, we do a pretty good job overall of emissions and all those kind of things, clean energy and all that kind of stuff. Of course, that stuff matters, right? But at the sake um, of of shutting down coal mines and shutting down power plants and converting and us being having extremely regulated power where we can only run our air conditioner so many hours a day at that expense. I don't know that I buy into it to that degree, especially when you have all these other countries just polluting the heck out of the air. Because if you go over to China right now, you can't even see your way through the downtown streets because there's so much smog in the air because they have no regulations on emissions or things. So what little bit drop in the bucket we might even do to make the world better, it's all being like the counterproductive is happening in other countries where they have no they have no regard for it at all whatsoever. But that's a heated argument, and he didn't want to get into that because he doesn't really support it. So you're right, that was a weak thing on his behalf. And then I would say his strongest point that I saw in the debate was how he was telling Biden over and over that you can't even say law and order, and he said name one police department that backs you, or one police organization that backs you, and he couldn't because there isn't one that does, because right now with all these riots and stuff that have been going on, the Democrats, or the radical left, or whatever label you want to put on it, a lot of these campaign people have been funding these protests, and they've funded putting DAs into office so that they can immediately get post bail as soon as they get arrested for quote unquote peaceful protesting. And that was the weak point. Yeah, that was definitely the weak point for Biden's for Biden in the debate. So, but I've been going on and on and on. Somebody else talk.
Well, Armor, you've been quiet. I think I've been monopolizing. I think it's been me and Sadgie so far. Go ahead, man.
Well, Keith Dad's in the chat. Welcome, Keith Dad. He says, what do you think Biden's tactic was for combating the Trump attacks, and was it successful? I guess I'll go first since you guys just got done talking. I think he, for the most part, did good at combating them, and same with Trump, because Biden definitely attacked Trump too. I mean, it wasn't just a one-sided attack. It was a schoolyard brawl, basically, like we're saying. It was a little playground scuffle more than anything. They both acted like sixth graders. But he did call him a clown once. He told him to shut up. So he did get trapped by Trump into doing exactly what Trump was trying to make him do, which was egg him on and make him lose his cool and call names like he's been known to do. But Trump also bought into Biden's attacks every time Biden would say something that most people would know is untruthful. We didn't need Trump to cut in and say, oh, that's a lie, or that's not a fact, or yes, I did, here's the proof. His supporters already knew that, so he only made himself look worse by biting in on Biden's attacks also. So I think neither one was successful, in my opinion, because they both acted like school children. They both were too busy combating what the other one was saying, in my opinion, than to say what they had come there to say. What do you guys think about that question?
Yeah, I agree. I think that they both kind of they both fell into that trap a little bit, and I think that's going to be the big takeaway from like that when you hear these major news organizations talking about it later tonight or tomorrow morning. That's going to be something that they're going to be bringing up over and over. And of course, the channels that normally attack Trump are going to point out, how belligerent Trump was, and Fox News is going to have plenty of montages of Biden's clips where he was acting a fool. So I think that they were both pretty much guilty of it. The one thing I would have to say is that Chris Wallace, or whatever, the guy moderating, he it seemed there at the end that he gave a little bit more time to Biden to answer his questions, and he was always really quick to interrupt Trump whenever he interjected, and not so much so for Biden. I feel like he showed just a slight level of favoritism, but he also asked questions directly to Biden that, like, what is your what will you, like at near the end there when he said, will you actively tell people to stand down, and concede if you lose, or when he directly asked, and then of course I was surprised to hear Biden say that he would accept the results. That was a big deal. I mean, I think that's what people were on the edge of their seat to hear the answer to that question there at the end. And Trump gave his typical response where he wouldn't commit to one thing or the other because he seems very convinced that there's going to be some type of fraud or some type of way that they're going to try to steal the election through somehow fraudulent some way fraudulenting or corrupting the ballot system. So um and then when I want to comparing this to other debates, like the last time when granted this is only the first debate, but it really did seem like it was at least it seemed like for the most part a level playing field, more so than I've seen in other debates, is what I was trying to get at originally when I first started that rant. But yeah, that's my answer. Go ahead, Ebro.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Do I agree or disagree? Well, let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you. See, I said that 3 times. But no, on a serious level, though, I agree with Trump in a way that there is going to be some kind of, I wouldn't call it sabotage or anything like that, but there is going to be kind of like a scrutiny against the way that these ballots are mailed in this year, and like especially with COVID-19, I think you're going to see a lot of more mail-in ballots because they really are scaring people, and away from the actual polls, like from going to a physical polling position and doing their voting, because they get that fear. That fear has been in there for the past 6 months now, this whole COVID thing. So I do really think that Trump had a point saying that the votes would be swayed. And there really has been some evidence of people throwing, finding Trump votes in the trash that had, Trump marked on them that have been thrown away and stuff. So, in all, I really do think he has a good point on that. And that's pretty much my takeaway from that whole thing.
All right, we got another question from Keith's dad. And
Right.
we are going to put the phones open, I think. I thought that was the idea. We was going to have people calling in with questions, but we'll answer the ones in chat till we get the phones open.
Yeah, go ahead and put the number up there, Hebrew, while we're talking, so that somebody wants to call in, we can get that going. So we're not sitting here waiting on a call at any point.
Well, I was going to do it until you said something, but now that you said something, I'm going to be like, well, no, now I'm going to wait longer.
All right, yeah, I think you should wait. Actually, I changed my mind.
Well, now that you said that, I'm going to put it up right away. Hey, wait a minute. No, on a serious level, though, I will put the phone lines on. You guys talk amongst yourselves while I do that. I got to mute up real fast.
All right, well, I'll finish asking this question Keith wrote in chat. He said, Trump name dropped the Proud Boys and told them to stand down. I did notice he did that. Do you think it was sincere? And do you think it will change anything that the Proud Boys will do in the future? I already answered a little bit in chat. I don't even know who or what the Proud Boys are or who they'll listen to. But I did notice he dropped that name when they were asking him if he would call out white supremacist and what was the other term they used? Something. White supremacists and something parties. So, what do you guys think about the Proud Boys?
It was white supremacists and militias.
Yeah, militia. Yeah.
And I think the word was another word he had in front of militia, but I can't remember it now. And yeah, he did actually say Proud Boys, and that was a big deal that he actually said called them out, because they're basically like, if you want to say Antifa and Black Lives Matter is like a militant group that is kind of like being funded by Democrats. The Proud Boys have kind of got a reputation of being pro-Trump. They're basically pro-Trumpers who get out there and counter rally those other guys. And
Who,
usually,
who do they? I know nothing about this Proud Boy thing. So
they
who
support
do they
Trump.
say is funding them?
No,
I mean, we know
just doing it-
Soros is funding Antifa,
right.
the
They don't.
left. Who's funding the right then?
They're not really accused of having any particular funding, like the other side is. They're kind of like since I guess I might be mistaken. I'm not really super knowledgeable on this subject, but the way I understand it is they kind of fund themselves.
Well, then
Since
there's
they're
no
pro-Trump.
comparison to Antifa. Antifa is an actual government, basically a funded organization. And the Proud Boy, I mean, I don't see the correspondence then. Because he was saying Biden need to call out Antifa. And of course, Biden said, well, Antifa isn't a group, it's an idea, which is nonsense. And which is exactly what my leftist buddy believes too. Antifa isn't real, it's just an idea. I'm like, are you serious? What do you mean it ain't real? I can show you training films from Antifa. Of course it's real. It's so, and they're funded. There's proof of that. So I don't understand how, and even the question, the way it was asked, and that's what Trump said, well, what group? Because they said, are you going to call out white supremacists and what's the word
Yeah,
again?
he actually said, what group do you want me to call
Yeah,
out?
but what group are you talking about? The Proud Boys or what? That's when he said that.
Yeah,
He said,
well,
what
no,
group
he
do you
asked,
mean? You mean like the Proud Boys?
yeah.
And I was like,
Well, actually, I think
whatever
it
the
was
Proud Boys is.
yeah, I think he actually said what group, and then Chris Wallace, even though we couldn't hear him, said the Proud Boys, and then Trump said, "Okay, the Proud Boys." I think that's how that went.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear Chris
Oh.
Wallace, but I did hear him say, "Oh, the Proud Boys."
Yeah,
So,
and
okay,
basically
but
that's the one group that is pro-Trump that shows up at these rallies and not rallies, but protests or whatever, and kind of goes against. And then, of course, the media says, well, now that the Proud Boys are here, we're going to see violence, as if there was no violence any day before that ever happened. But now that the Proud Boys are going to show up, now we're scared. And actually kind of worked about a couple weeks ago there, and I think it was Portland. I might be off, but the Proud Boys said that if they're going to show up tomorrow or the next day or something like that. And so when they threatened to actually show up, then the mayor went ahead and said, okay, I guess I'm going to call in and I'm going to ask for the National Guard to come down. We don't want the Proud Boys coming in here. And then in hindsight, the argument was, well, that's what the Proud Boys said on their website or whatever. That's all we really wanted anyway, was we were just coming because we wanted it to end, and you guys, we threatened to come and you guys shut it down, so mission accomplished. That's what, that's how they save face after the fact. So, and again, all of it has a political slant.
Have they been tied to rioting? Have they been tied to looting? Have they been, I mean, I still
No,
don't
not
understand
at
how
all.
they're an equal footing with Antifa. I don't get it.
Well, because what happens is when they show up, then they have, like, basically you have like an Antifa standing there. Instead of just arguing with a policeman, they're arguing with another set of protesters. That's basically why they.
But have they been known to get violent? Do they shoot people? Again,
No.
I'm just trying to figure out how they're linked to the same status as Antifa. I don't understand.
Yeah,
what will
really
calling out them do if they're not violent anyway? I'm confused here.
Well, here, let me try to explain the best that I can anyway, because it's really hard for me because I'm not super, like I said, I'm just kind of like trying to piece it all together with more little information I have. But the big deal about him saying that is that telling them to stand down, because say he was to lose the election, or it was a controversial close call and he wasn't conceding, and then there's riots and protests. It will just add to fuel to the fire or potential for violence to break out if the Proud Boys instigate and was to go and do something like that. But like you said, Armor, they don't really have a reputation for showing up and instigating violence, but violence always seems to happen because they will get in the face of the people that are normally, quote unquote, peaceful protesting. And then when they get in each other's face, then that's a recipe for violence that that wouldn't. Basically, they show up they're being pro Trump at a place where, hey, we're all here protesting, against Trump. How dare you show up and be pro Trump? You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
you're right.
but I
You're
don't
right though. They
understand.
don't have. They
If
don't.
there's no proof that they've ever done anything wrong, then yeah, I
But
still
they
don't get
do
it.
when they do show up though. They're known to be very physical. They
So
start
they do
punching
do something
people.
wrong.
Yeah,
They're
when
the
they
ones that
show up.
start the violence, not the Antifa that they're coming against. Then
Exactly. When they show up, they come ready to fight. They're
well,
not
ready
just.
to fight and fighting's two different things. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I know nothing about this. Do
Well,
they
no,
show up and start pounding Antifa, or do they just show up and get in their face and then Antifa pounds them? There's a
well,
big
it's
difference
that. I guess
there.
that's debatable. Pounding just starts happening. I guess is the. Well, I don't know who hits who first all the time because I'm not there to witness it. But when they show up, then people end up getting hurt and sent to the hospital because some type of altercation occurs. And they have been known to put some Antifa members in the hospital. So
Okay. But they don't just go around like Antifa and decide to burn down stores and take over cities and shoot people that don't agree with them.
no, 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 not at all.
They just show up where they're not wanted, and of course, that's going to cause problems. But this is America, so you're supposed to be allowed to show up wherever you want peacefully and stand your ground. So I don't know. I don't know nothing about them, so I can't say anything about them. But okay, here we got a wiki about the Proud Boys from Keystad. Let's see. The Proud Boys is a far right and neo fascist organization that admits only men as members and promotes and engages in political violence. All right, well, according to Wiki, they are the right wing Antifa, basically. Because they promote and engage in political violence.
Yes, they do engage in political violence. Now, the word promote, I think, is being used kind of loosely because they show up where the violence is already happening more often than not. You see what I'm saying?
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Do they show up to try to keep the peace when it's already gone? Or do they show up where it's peaceful and cause problems? There's a big difference there. Antifa shows up and causes problems.
Right.
Is that what the Proud Boys do? I don't know. I'm just asking. And if they do, then yes, they need to be stopped just as much as Antifa does.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need either side promoting violence. That's the whole point of this. So if the Proud Boys do show up and promote violence and all that, I'm against them as much as I'm against Antifa. I just want that to be known. But I know nothing about the Proud Boys, so I can't speak about them. But there's no doubt Antifa does that. That's why I'm so against Antifa. But yeah, if the Proud Boys do the same thing, then they're no better than the ones they're coming against. They're about as anti-fascist as Antifa is then.
Yeah.
They're anti-fascist.
They're an extreme. They're definitely the extreme of the opposite. They're
No,
the
yeah,
extreme
that's
right.
what I was
Or
gonna.
if Antifa's extreme left, Proud Boys are the extreme right. That's the best short synopsis I guess I can give you. I'm not pro. I'm not pro. What are they called again? Boys something.
Proud Boys.
I'm not pro Proud Boy. I'm not for extremism on either side. To be quite
Yeah,
honest.
exactly. Me neither. And if they're that
Yeah.
extreme, yeah, then Trump should call them out, just like the left should call out their
Yep.
Antifa.
And that's the thing, though, too, is I noticed like Biden was kind of dancing around the question a little bit. He was saying, peaceful protesters, as he always does, by the way. This is no different. And like Chris Hansen, not Chris Hansen, whoever the guy that was moderating the whole thing was like
Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace. Thank you, Saji. I appreciate that. But it was like Trump and Trump shouldn't have kept interrupting him. Don't get me wrong, but he was trying to make a good point, is saying, well, what, when he was talking about law and order, and I don't really think they covered it a little bit, but they didn't really get big into it like they did all of the other topics. And I think that's, but I guess they did kind of cover a lot because Trump kept, interrupting and whatnot. But I think Biden basically came out and said, like he admitted without actually admitting that his camp, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. This could be clearly just my opinion, but I think he was coming out and sort of admitting that all of the protesters weren't necessarily peaceful protesters. It just seemed like he was dancing and avoiding that question, as well as when Trump was dancing and avoiding the question about the what was the other thing, the the ones who are against Black Lives Matter and the ones who are against Antifa or something like that. I don't know. What do you guys? I'm reading Keith's dad's comment because I accidentally called that guy Chris Hansen. He's like, Mr. President, do you know why you're here? Well, actually, Keith's dad, what you should have said was, Mr. President, have a seat. But no, it should be Biden should be the one on Chris Hansen because he's always sniffing little kids' hair and like. But that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about the debate. I'm just saying, all the crazy stuff that he does is so absurd. But anyway, that was my point. My point was it did seem like Biden was kind of dancing around the whole violent protesting thing. Like he kind of admitted it, but didn't admit that they were not exactly as peaceful as what everyone on the left says. You know what I'm saying? The far left.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely not peaceful. Quite often, just look at Portland. That ain't hard to figure out.
All right. But what are your thoughts on that, Mr. Saji? You have 2 minutes.
Oh, I do, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, what was the question again?
It was how do you think Biden presented himself when it came to answering the question about the violent or the peaceful protesters? Did he come off like he was sweating bullets a little bit? I said bullocks.
Yeah, he really had he didn't have a really great rebuttal for that, nor did he have a good rebuttal for the whole law and order thing that Trump was, throwing in his face. And here's really, I think that's really our biggest concern going into this election. I mean, I have a feeling it's not going to be a landslide either way. I think it's going to be a close election. Okay, I think it's going to be. And I think that with all these mail-in ballots,
Yep.
Even let's not even talk about the fraud or any of that stuff. Okay, just the fact that we're going to have to wait so long for them to count all the votes on election night. We're not going to wake up in the morning and know who a clear winner is. That is a recipe for disaster. That is going to people are going to take it upon themselves, whether Biden encourages or Trump encourages or not. People are going to want an answer. They're going to want to wake up in the morning and we figured out who our new president is. Honestly, that's the way it always has been, and that's the way it should be. And but we're not going to. Technically, all the votes are going to be counted by then. It's going to really, unless it's a landslide, unless Trump just takes all 30, 40, 50 states, then we're not going to know. Or if Biden doesn't have a landslide or whatever, what my point is, it's going to be I think it's going to be a disaster. I think this year, the election, the day after the election, is going to be chaotic, to say the least.
Oh, no doubt. They're lining up for that. They're promoting it. There's no doubt that's the case, in my opinion.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Do you remember when W. Bush, when he won, I think it might have been the second election. I'm not sure. Which one was the one he was going up against Al Gore? Was that the first one?
Yeah, and you know what? We talked about that the other day because I had mentioned to you that,
Yep.
historically speaking, the incumbent president usually always wins. And that was the one time where the election went to like a Supreme Court or something, and they had to decide who the winner was.
Mhm.
And then after the fact, if you really see how the votes played out and everything, Al Gore technically won that election, but the Supreme Court gave it to Bush because at the
Well,
time the Supreme Court justices were mostly conservative, so they gave it to obviously a
here's
conservative president. But go ahead, I'm sorry, I'm stamping all over your piece there.
well, that's okay, man. You bring up a good point and a bad point all at the same time. I don't know how to explain that, but you bring up like half a point. Like I think technically, yes, it was all that in a bag of chips, what you just said. But I think there was a lot of like screwy McLuey stuff going on with that because number one, you had that Catherine, whatever the hell her name is, with all the scary makeup. And then she was embedded with Bush's brother, who was the governor of Florida at the time.
Jeb Bush.
Jeb, yeah, Jeb Bush. And Florida was the one that was tying up all the votes. Like Florida was the one that was the decisive factors. So,
Yeah, and I remember they were talking about the hanging chads. Remember
mhm,
that?
yep. So I do believe there was a little bit of I won't say what's the word Trump used tonight about the votes? Ambushed. I wouldn't say there was
Yeah.
an ambush going on, but I would say there was probably more than a little shibibble lickibble going on there. I
Yeah,
would say,
a little trickery, a little, yeah. And
yeah,
you know what? That was probably a good sneak peek. That was just like like a, uh, what the way that went down. That kind of is like a sneak preview of what we're about to have, but on a much larger scale.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because
Uh,
they pulled that off with actual ballots. Now they got
mhm.
mail-in ballots that they can manipulate so much easier.
Oh yeah, for sure. Wasn't there like some kind of controversial thing too? There was another voting system, and then they wanted to change like the entire voting system to Sisto. I'm thinking of Fisto. Man at Arms' his brother on Masters Universe. There was some kind of other system that I think was in play too, if I'm not mistaken. Like they were trying to do a computer
Yeah,
system
that
where
was
Yeah,
the first
electronic
time.
voting. Yep.
Yeah, it was when they
yeah,
first introduced electronic voting. Yeah,
yep,
and they were having all kinds of errors and malfunctions, and that's why where the hanging chads were coming into play because they were punching holes and then running those like the tests that you used to do where you circle in the circles with your pencil, and you had to make
yep,
sure you filled in the circle all the way. Well, some of these holes weren't getting some of the paper was holding on to where they punched through the hole, so it wasn't giving an accurate vote count. It was as if they voted for a different person than they actually voted for. That was the big controversy back then. Exactly.
mhm,
And
yep,
and I guess the other thing is don't put it. Trump is really being aggressively calling out the fact that the Democrats can influence the election by simply, like we just said, like but by there not being a definitive a person right away. Well, how many more votes would we need to win? And then all of a sudden, that's not magically the amount that shows up 2 days later. A
yeah,
truck in Idaho had broke down, but we fixed it. Here it comes now. and, but don't put it past. I mean, it's not like it's just a one. It's just a one a one party game here. I mean, Republicans are capable of despicable
oh
uh,
yeah,
things as well. They might have a couple semis parked in Louisiana. Who knows?
And I think the big takeaway is, if you're going to believe in the election system and if you're going to believe your vote counts and all that stuff, we're taking that all into consideration here. The best thing to do by the looks of what's coming this year is to get up off your lazy butt, walk or drive like for me, it's maybe 5 miles to a real voting place and cast your vote in person. Don't do the mail-in ballots. If you know there's going to be a controversy on mail-in ballots and you really are worried about the election, then don't mail in a ballot. Now, I realize people overseas, like I was when I was in the service, you have no choice. People may be trapped in a country abroad right now because of all. You have no choice. But I'm saying, if you're trying to decide, well, do I want to bother going out because COVID might get me or whatever, they got you scared to go vote. Go in person, cast your vote. That way you have less chance of it getting lost in the mail, so to speak.
Right. And then if you don't want to do that, the next best thing would be the absentee ballot because like Trump was trying to say in the debate, there's a security protocol in place with that where you actually have to you actually have to request it and it actually gets sent to you versus where, a mail-in ballot just shows up in your mailbox and you just, fill it out and hand it back and put it back in your mailbox. You don't know where its final destination is. You don't know what kind of interception may occur. There's no
Well,
there's not
but
there's not a strict
that's the
tracking
same
system.
even with the other ones. They're still going through the mail system. Whether you
Yeah.
requested it or didn't, you're still sending it back. That's the point. Don't
But
send
what
it
I'm what
back.
I'm
Go
trying
in
to get
person
at
and
is,
do it.
oh yeah, for sure. But if what I'm trying to say is obviously, yeah, go in person and do that. That's number one. But the next best thing, if you can't do that for whatever reason, is the absentee ballot versus just the quote unquote mail-in ballot. That
But
should
I'm
be.
saying they're no different. They're both going back in the mail. They may want you
Well,
to think that's a better thing, but how's it any better? It's still going through the same system.
Well, the reason why it's a little bit better is the fact that it's a document that you requested that thing. That's how the military vote. Like when they do the military, they do absentee ballots. Or if you're like not if you're not going to be near, if you're going to be out of town, or if you're afraid of COVID or whatever, an absentee ballot is a little bit more secure than just a regular old mail-in ballot. But you're right, Armor. I mean, they're both going through the mail. If you really want your vote to count, bottom line is get up and go vote at your polling place. You're right. But if you can't, at least try to do the absentee because it does have one extra security measure that the regular mail-in ballot don't. That's what I'm trying to say.
Cool. Well, I guess we ain't gonna get no calls, eh?
No, there ain't been no calls on here for a little bit. So I think we've nailed our points as far as we're going to nail them into the ground. As far as you take a bunch of stakes and you put them in the ground, and you put all your tents up, and then next thing you know, the compact is about 5 miles down the road. So you got to pack up again and move your mash unit to the next available, area. So we do have to keep moving forward to the next available area. It's time to do that. So if nobody wants to call in, I say it's time to lock the conference. And
Well, I just want to say thanks to Keith's dad out there. He just said, "Hey peeps watching, like and sub these guys. This is gold." So thank you for the compliment, Keith's dad.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, Sadji's out of here. He's like, "I'm
Yeah.
out." I dropped in the mic. I said what I got to say.
He made his point and made it clear. Well, Armor, do you want to give one final shout out? I mean, we did say we're not going to be here too long.
Yeah, I got to go to work in about an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Hey, Sadji's back.
I didn't mean to drop off. I was trying to unmute and I turned my phone and the screen flipped and I ended up hitting the X instead of the mic and then you know how the story goes. But I was trying to get a word into Keith's dad. Yeah, we really do. We really are glad. And thank you for the well thought out questions. I hope you do like and subscribe to the channel. We do a live stream on Sundays and typically on Tuesday night. We'd like to see you on some of our future broadcasts. We're really glad you're here.
Yep, absolutely. And I guess a final shout out real quick. We got Michael Fontaine with a wrench.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine. We got Bubbles Bubbles still hanging out with us. Keith's dad, of course. Lota 900. I know Go-Kart Bob was screeching in here. He's probably still with us, I'm sure. Eddie Von Trump, I believe is the name he's gone by this evening. Eddie Van Trump, that's it, with the wrench. Philip Fogarty was here since the beginning. And let me scroll back to the bottom. I think we got everybody. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
And we would also like to thank you, Armor. I know you usually don't do live streams on a Tuesday with us, but I appreciate you being here with us and hanging out and talking about the debates and watching the debates as well with us over in the other, in the StreamYard earlier. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
want
was
to
hoping
thank
it
you.
would be more comedy gold, but it was more like a schoolyard brawl. But it was still funny. It was still
Yeah.
worth watching. But they both lost, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I want to thank you as well. Your presence has definitely added value not only to the earlier thing that we did, but to this live stream as well. Your opinions are definitely well thought out, and I don't know. I really am just glad you're here. So I want to show my appreciation for you coming and doing this with us. Thank you.
All right. Enough, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's not easy working with this Hebrew guy when it's just me and him only. Sometimes
I can imagine.
that third reasonable voice of reason really goes a long way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to bring it up. But when we first started Shifty Sundays, just me and him hanging out, and he said about maybe a new person. I said, take it to the Spirit and see what he'll show you. Man, I was praying to the Spirit that he sent somebody. So I'm glad he did, and that's awesome. It's a little joke, boys.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. I'm laughing inside. I really am, Armor. I really am.
It makes me really proud. Like I feel like a proud boy.
Oh no, Antifa in the house. All right, we'll light this puppy on fire and let's get out of here.
All right, fire it is. Thanks everyone for kindly stopping by. And
oh man, Keith's dad said he did try to call in, but he was just too late. Bummer. Okay. Well, hey, we usually open the phone lines Sundays and Sundays sometimes. I don't know about Tuesdays. I think they do on Tuesdays as well at times.
Well, guys,
yeah.
No, wait a minute now. Do you want to? I've got him on the line right now. If you guys want to.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, if he's here,
yeah, for sure.
Bring him in. Absolutely.
All right, caller, just hang on 1 second. I will unmute you, and you could talk to these two clowns.
Well, he goes and makes a ham sandwich.
Right.
Because it is that time in the show.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But no, seriously, here he is. I assume this is Keith's dad. All right, let's go.
There you go, assuming again.
Well, I know what that does to me. Yeah.
And me.
Yeah. All right, Keith's dad, can you hear us? Keith's dad? Hello?
Maybe you should say caller, because maybe it ain't Keith's dad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, caller. Can you hear us? Oh. Hold on. I think
he said it is me, but we're not here. I don't hear him yet.
Let me see. I may have.
He thinks he's muted. You may have to unmute him.
I tried that. Okay, let me try this. Are you there? Caller? No, I don't hear him, Armor.
No, I don't hear him either. Strange. You didn't take the call center down, did you, and put it back up?
No.
Okay, well, that couldn't be it then. I don't know. Try pushing. Maybe you're muted on your end, Keith's dad. He can hear us, yep. I don't know if he's calling through Hangouts or a cell phone or how he's calling, but maybe you got the mute button hit on your end, or maybe there's a way you can unmute yourself.
Well, I don't know. I've tried everything under my power so far. Let me do this. Do me a favor, Keefstad. Hold on. Let me reset the call center real fast.
All right, you may have to make sure he knows the number.
Oh yeah, let me put the number back up.
Yeah, so give him a chance to reset it and then recall the number, and hopefully we'll get it going. I'd like to hear from you.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, I'm restarting it. Wait, no. Okay, I've restarted it now. Let's see what happens.
All right. There'll be a little delay to the chat, but yeah, you can redial in now, Keithstead.
You are 100% sure you got the correct number. Like,
Well, he must. He's
Yeah.
seen him. He definitely
okay.
seen him.
So there we go. There we have it. All right, I believe we got him on the line now.
All right, fingers crossed.
Caller, can you hear us? Hello? You there, man? Well, this is just the damnest thing. Hold on.
Yeah, that is very weird. We usually don't have any troubles hearing him.
Let me.
I would almost say it has to be on his
Whoops.
end, probably.
The heck happened? Well, I lost the caller.
Well, maybe he's trying to call back. Give him a second. See what happens.
It looked like it dropped him.
He said 1 second. It tells him how to unmute himself. So, yeah, I think it's definitely on his end because usually we don't have problems.
No.
So give him a few minutes and...
All right. Well, he dropped out of the call armor is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he said 1 second. So
Oh, okay.
he's probably trying to figure out how to unmute and hung up by accident.
Well, that rain sure is hitting you rough. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping it stops because, like I said, I get to go drive around and deliver here in about
3 hours.
what would it be? No, an hour and like an hour and a
All right,
half.
can you hear me now?
Oh, there it is. There he is.
Hey,
Yeah.
I heard somebody.
Keefstad,
Yeah,
you
how
there?
you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Yes, this is Keith's dad. Sorry, I had to press star twice to unmute myself, apparently.
Huh.
Cool. At least you got it figured out.
You guys do, you know, this is the first time I've been watching you, and you guys did the post debate, you know, extremely fair. I watched it. I laughed hysterically through the whole thing, and you guys picked out the perfect points to talk about.
Oh,
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, we try. We try. And I'm not a big political person myself, so.
I'm normally not. I mean, personally, you know, I did live stream the debate and talked alongside it on my own channel, but basically what I saw was, I mean, your local government is much more important than a presidential debate. You know, to be completely honest, it really is. Your mayor, your sheriff, and all that. But I did enjoy watching this and seeing what the, you know, I was hoping to get some sort of substance from them, and I didn't really see very much substance at all coming from either of them.
No, I agree. I definitely agree your local government's way more important. No doubt about that. And yeah, I'm the same way. They both seem to get sidetracked by the other one into playing their exact game of never getting out their talking points and just we're too busy arguing with each other.
Yeah, and I think another thing that kind of really points out the whole local government being more important is what we've seen since this whole pandemic thing has started about how local governments have really kind of, you know, been extreme one way or the other on the whole mask thing, the social distancing thing, how long they're shutting down thing, how much rioting they're permitting thing. I mean, that right there in itself really kind of brings it to everybody's attention how important it is that you pay attention to your local government. So that is a great point, Keystad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I'm in a state that proves that more than anything right now. I mean, the people here in Pennsylvania, we're not complaining because of what happened to the economy because of Trump. We're complaining what happened to our economy because of our Governor Wolf. He's destroyed our economy. You know, it has nothing to do with the higher government, like Keith's saying. It's absolutely all because of our darn governor and the things he's done to this state and the things he shut down and allowed opened. And yeah, your local government is way more important. Your state government is way more important than the presidential debates. Pennsylvania's living proof right now, believe me.
Yeah, I'm here in North Carolina, so I feel you on the swing state and the issues with that. And I did notice there was a comment that Lothar made about the problem with the whole debate was the lack of an audience. Honestly, the audience seems to be the one that won the debate because they didn't have to be there.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Good point.
Like his sense of humor. I like it.
And it don't matter what Lothar thinks anyway, because he's a Canadian.
Yeah, we all know Lothar's Canadian, so pay him no mind. I know you're new to the chat, but yeah. Lothar, we just sort of tolerate because we try to, cross the borders with an extending hand. But no, Lothar knows we're kidding. We love Lothar.
I'll be honest. What I really enjoyed is, very, very rarely in a group, very rarely do you see non-bias. The whole world, the whole country is biased one way or another. And when I started watching you guys, I just left a live chat. That's why I'm late to you guys. I was watching one that was obvious left wing, and it was very, very biased. And when I got to you guys, I didn't hear one little talking point, one bias, one nothing. You guys were real, and you don't get that. And so I was like, oh, I'm immediately subbing and liking this. These guys are awesome. Speaking of which, I have Heboy. I'm sorry, let me look at the name here. I have Heboy from Eternia's channel. Do you guys have channels too? Is there something you can post on your channel?
Hebrew's our main channel we do our lives on. I have a channel it's purely scriptural, purely father-based, Jesus, spirit, everything on my channel. Now, I do have a second channel that uncovers the darker side of what happens to the children, SRA, trafficking, things like that. But my main channel, Armor Up, is I do daily devotionals, weekly sermons from people, things like that. That main channel is mainly scriptural. Because I try to keep everything under the Father.
Like QAnon-based type of stuff, or just focused on the children itself?
Yeah, the other page is mainly focused on the darker side of what happened. The Franklin cover-up, all that kind of stuff. The Hampstead case, on and on and on. It's focused mainly on the children. That's why I started my whole YouTube thing was over the children. And my other one's focused 100% on the Father, Son, and Spirit. Although we do talk different things. Now, the Hebrew channel, that's the one you'll probably like the most. We talk about everything. We talk about whatever comes up. Callers call in and we talk about it. So, but yeah, if you're into spiritual things, my main channel would be a good one. If you want to see stuff that most people can't stand to watch about what happens to the children, my second channel, Warriors Call, which is linked on my first channel, would be a good one. But that's what I got out there.
I'm game. I'll check them out. Absolutely. You both seem, all three of you seem to be, just extremely level-headed. You're talking with, civility during a presidential debate.
Yeah, that's not easy to do, is it? Yeah. No, I have a variety on here. We started off like we mostly talked about conspiratorial sort of stuff, and I don't know if you know anything about the Mandela effect or anything, but we talk about that a lot, and just it's a mix. It's a mixed bag. It's like what's that? Trail mix. It's kind of like that. There's a little bit of everything in there,
I was going to go with smorgasbord, but yeah, trail mix is good.
Yeah. I was going to say, we like to talk about fringe topics. Sometimes we just pick out articles, and point out the absurdity of what's going on in the mainstream media. We try to promote, not being programmed, anti-programming, brainwashing, that the anti-indoctrination. That's kind of like what I try to bring to the table. But I don't necessarily have my own channel where I put up my own content. Um, I just kind of use his channel as a platform. So I don't have any content on my channel.
Well, there's definitely enough content out there for all the mainstream media shenanigans that are going on every day.
Yeah, we never run out of things to talk about. That's for sure. We're never short on things to find to point out.
Our motto is no topic too big, no topic too small. I just brought that. I just thought of that motto. That's a good motto.
Good one, Armor.
All right, well, I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much for talking with me, and keep it up. You guys did great today.
Well, hey,
I'm actually going to rewind it and watch you guys from the beginning.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for tuning in, and thanks for the call, man. It was a good call.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah, and is your what is the name of your channel? Is it called Keith Stad?
Yeah, it's Keith Stad. I did I'm normally a gaming channel. I stream Minecraft. I just do it for fun. It's just a hobby. I just do it for fun. But today I have a lot of kids that watch, and I said, you know what? Let me stream the presidential debate. We'll have some fun with it. Bring the kids into some politics and bring them in. Just like you guys did, non-biased. I made fun of both of them. There's plenty to make fun of for both of them. So that's what I did. I was pretty happy. It turned out really well. We had a couple Biden fans in there, a couple Trump fans in there, and it was a good time. It was a good time. But mainly, I'll probably do the debate some more, but mainly it's just Minecraft, really.
Cool.
Familiar with Minecraft.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I notice your avatar reflects that. And I do a lot of stop motion videos with action figures on this channel as well. So yeah, I don't know if you would be into watching any of those, but there's plenty out there.
They're not children friendly though.
No.
So you know.
Well, yeah. No.
For the most part.
Well,
I had the label
myself, so it was actually refreshing when you're like, "Oh, what was that? What was that Bush and Al Gore election?" I'm like, "Oh, 2000. I remember that. Oh, yeah. I could start drinking."
Yeah, that.
Remember that far back. You don't have to remember that far back on my channel. You just have to remember like last year, because that's all the kids know.
Yeah. Well, hey, man.
All right, I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much. You guys have a fantastic day.
All right, you too, brother.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Awesome call. Good to know you. And my grandchildren love Minecraft, so they'll probably love his channel if they see it.
Oh yeah, that's what we should do is like put a link out there for his channel for anyone watching right now or watching later. I never thought to ask him that.
Yeah. Oh, you can put it in the description.
Yeah,
that's always better because sometimes people don't pay attention to the comments, but you always see the description.
Oh yeah.
That's why I always put the links there. Easier to find.
Well, I'm glad we had that call, guys. How about you?
Yeah, it's good to know that we're perceived as level-headed, at least by somebody.
Yeah,
at least by somebody. Of course, he don't know us too well yet.
I was getting ready to say, if only he knew.
If only he knew I was a feminist, racist, and a heretic.
And then I wear my tinfoil hat way too tight. Yeah.
Yeah. And Hebrew's just Hebrew. enough said there.
Right. Well, yeah. I gotta be
good show, guys. Good time. Great call.
Yeah. So with that being said, I do believe we're getting ready to wrap things up.
Yep, I'm gonna go play in the rain, drive around, and dodge the deer.
So. Sounds fun. Sounds like fun. I wish I could join you.
Yeah, I would like to do a ride along with Armor. I think that would be a good time.
Well, I do have the videos. I've been using some of my dash cam footage from my
It's
truck.
not quite the same as being
Nah.
there.
It definitely wouldn't be the same. It's a lot more fun being in the truck.
Cool. Well, guys, we've only done like an hour and 30 minutes, but I think that's enough for what we done earlier because we did the whole live stream, not live stream, but the whole StreamYard thing.
Well, to get an hour and 30 minutes worth of talking points out of that debate is a feat in itself.
Right.
I concur. And
All
CJ popped in. Let me give her a quick shout out before
right.
we leave. She popped in. She's off chat listening. So always great to see the CJ in the house.
Any final thoughts there, Saji? I'll start with you first.
Nope. I actually had a good time. I was really kind of disappointed in the debate overall. It was kind of lackluster for me. But I enjoyed the company and the people that I was participating in it with is way better than sitting here by myself, in my own thoughts. Having this you guys and the people that showed up, everybody being here, and Keith's dad even. I mean, it's just for me, it was that in itself has made it a much more pleasant evening than just listening to those two yahoos on the TV. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, you can sit around eating donuts in your underwear by yourself anytime. Anytime you can do that with friends is that much better. I concur.
Exactly.
Well, you, Armor?
Me? Oh, I thought I just did mine.
Oh. Okay.
But no, seriously, folks. Thanks for being here. It was definitely much more enjoyable here having someone to share the disaster with. I knew it was going to disaster, but I thought it'd be much more a one-sided disaster. So I'm sort of surprised at the equality of the disaster of the debate myself. But yeah, great being here as always with you two. We always have a lot of fun. And great having the new caller, hopefully a new viewer. And great seeing all the old faces in the chat as always. So don't forget, take some time, get alone, get to know the Father. He'll blow your mind, man. I'm serious. Give it a whirl. Just give it a whirl. And see if your world don't just change a lot. That's all I got to say.
All right. With that being said, from everyone here on the Hebrew Show, the Hebrew channel, I just got to say good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see all you guys, hopefully, said you changed his thing. Hopefully.
Oh, no, he warped on us.
Yeah, he did. He went through a portal.
Did you guys already live stream? Did I miss it?
You missed it, Saji, too.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I guess I'm sorry. Well, okay. Bye, guys.
All right. Well, goodbye.
Have a good day, Saji.
Oh, man. Saji, you missed it. Your other guy was here, man.
Oh, was he? Did he pop in again?
He portaled in.
Oh, I have no control over when that's going to happen. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. Just like
But it's like Quantum Leap. He couldn't control it either. You just got to go with the flow, my brother.
Yep.
Just like I have no control over when this is going to happen.